Well, hello, and welcome to a solo episode with me, Crystal Vilkaitis, on the Rooted in Retail podcast. And today's episode, I am going to take you behind the scenes a little bit to a magical event that we recently hosted. I talked about it here on the show if you have been a listener for a few months. My husband Dustin, and 29 retailers went to Disney World, and it was magical. It was really wonderful to spend some time in person together and just get the inspiration. I mean, you just can't not be inspired when you're at Disney. And so I wanted to share a couple of my top takeaways from that event, as they will definitely help you in your store. So let's dive into today's episode. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Crystal Vilkaitis, the Wolf of Main Street, and this is Rooted in Retail. So I am filming this in October. Just a couple of weeks ago, we were in Disney World with all these awesome retailers. And I got to say, we had such a great group. It makes such a difference when you just have a really awesome group of people together. And we had this magical opening night ceremony, 7-course meal, fireworks, music. It was just a really amazing way to start the event. And we had the opportunity to go into Epcot and Magic Kingdom, and then had classroom time to really go through the structure of kind of the framework of what Disney uses to create magical experiences and how they really work with their teams and create culture, and just a lot of content. As you can imagine, being such a big business, they have to really have structure in order to create consistency throughout their brand and really create a raving experience with their fans. And Disney is like number one for loyalty. If they're not number one, they're high on the list. People love coming back to Disney. They love supporting the merch. They just are big Disney fans. And so I had a lot of takeaways, for me, and I've talked about this on the show before. When we get out of our businesses into new environments, that's when magic happens, I believe. That's when we start thinking differently. You see something, it's just like perspective changes. And so I just think like getting out of our stores is really important. Getting out of our businesses is really important. And so, I mean, that was great for me to be able to do as a business owner, as well as all of our retailer attendees. And lots of takeaways, lots of details, lots of things to be paying attention to. But I'm going to just share a couple on the show. And one is attention to detail. If you've ever been to Disney, I mean, there's details everywhere if you're paying attention. And stuff that I really like, I like how they'll hide Mickey, like Mickey within rides. You can find him in stores, on walls, on floors. You could find different characters. The hotel we stayed at had characters in the tiles. It's just like a fun experience to be looking for kind of that scavenger hunt, like I talked about with finding the elf in my town last week. Like, it's just so fun it gamifies it, right? It makes it fun. We're searching for something. But then also the conference venue that we were in for our event, it was new. They just redid it all. And I was in the bathroom, and the hook on the back of the door was just such a beautiful hook. And I was like, oh my God, look how beautiful that is. And I'm in a bathroom. I'm actually very judgmental of the back of doors in bathrooms because I think that it's an amazing marketing opportunity. And I just think a lot of businesses miss it. Like when I go to local businesses, restaurants, breweries, stores, even, I mean, like it's such a prime real estate place, or it's such a prime place to put attention to detail. Anyways, I digress. There's attention and detail everywhere. Obviously, there's like no trash. It's clean. It's because the trash cans are so close by. Level, like attention to detail. So this is where you can walk through your store. And sometimes we need to have a secret shopper. We need to have a friend, a family member that comes into the store that can look for the attention to detail, that can look for the things that maybe it's confusing to find a product. It's dirty. It was hard to reach. we're putting products that are for seniors too high and they can't get those and they constantly need help. Like, how are we merchandising? Where are we putting things? Is it clean? Is that attention to detail there? And is your team really showing up with attention to detail as well? So really looking through that lens, like if somebody from Disney was going to come into my store and walk the floors, how would they rate me? How would I be graded on my attention to detail? I think that would be a really great exercise. And maybe we have to do that after the holidays, depending on what kind of store. And if you're really busy, Q4, most of you are. But I think that's a really great lens to look through. The other thing that was such a big takeaway for me is just that magic is created through systems. I used to be a believer that if you systematize too many things within your business, that you take away the air, you suffocate the business. And as I started putting more systems in place, and we're currently working on putting more systems in place. And then as I'm going through this framework of what Disney does, I mean, everything has a system or a process. And that's such a big part of the E-Myth, the book, The E-Myth, which a lot of our guests on the show have recommended that book. You have to have systems. And what systems do is they don't suffocate the business. They take out all the gray area for you and your team and your customers of there's no more questions. There's no more, this is confusing. There's no more like, should I do that or should I do this? Or one employee does that and the other one does this. And it just creates like an inconsistent experience for team members and for customers. When we have systems, it creates the black and white and it allows for containers like this is how we do it. And so we stick to how we do it. So we create consistency within the experience of our customers. There's no gray area. Everybody knows what's expected of them. And if you're not doing what's expected of you, then you will be written up. There needs to be a consequence. We have to make sure that we're abiding by these systems and processes because if we're not, it falls apart. We can't have somebody that's like, oh, they occasionally do it and that's good enough. Nope. We have to really enforce the systems. Imagine if Disney occasionally went through their systems, occasionally followed the wardrobe protocol, occasionally cast members didn't smile or didn't help or didn't try to be involved or didn't go above and beyond. Like, no, this is how we do this business. And people like that. Like your team likes that when they don't know, like, is this right? Is this wrong? Like it can create insecurities within them. When you are black and white with your processes, it can create a confident team. They know exactly what's expected of them. And so then I think what happens is it allows for more space for creativity and brainstorming and time with your customers. Systems streamlines, creates consistency, makes a confident team, makes the experience just above it, like just consistent and memorable to where you can free up that time and energy and space in your head to do more creative things and really play with how you want to show up with your customers and really connect with them and your team. So that was such a big takeaway. You have to have those frameworks. You have to have the systems in place. Make sure you do. If there's anything where it's like, oh, this person does that, but this person does that. We have some miscommunication. We have something that's broken. I would write that down and I would fix it maybe in January, but we got to make sure that we have systems in place for everything that you're doing within your store. And then something that's just such a big takeaway all the time when I go to Disney, and I'm just such a believer of this in any type of amazing experience I have, is it is all about how you make your customers feel. Like when you go to Disney, there is a feeling. You are approached with all five senses, right? They've got the smellitizers, what they call them, where on the buildings, like on Main Street, the cinnamon roll place has a smellitizer device that's pumping out the smell of the cinnamon rolls that will pull you from the street in. That's smell. You've got taste of all these amazing food. You hear music. For me, music's like the key. You'll go into the bathroom and you hear this like happy music. And I'm just always like, yay, I'm so happy. And I'll often like kind of dance and stall and feel excited. This episode's really turning out to be me and my bathroom experiences, which is so weird. We've taken a turn. But like music, when we were walking down in the parks, I was doing a little dance. You just like can't not be happy when you're hearing that music. Sight, what you see. So cleanliness, color, characters, smiles, like just happiness and joy. So, and then of course, like touch there, we're on rides, we're experiencing body experience, we're touching from a retail perspective. There's just, it appeals to the five senses, but it's really how you're making your customers feel. And I think that lens is a really important one for us to continuously look through, like, okay, and get your team on board. Like, okay, guys, how are we going to make people feel today? And there's a chance that your answer might always be the same unless something is going on in the world. And so we might pivot a little, but like, because we're consistent with our brand and our systems and our processes, we know that we want to create just ultimate joy. Like Disney knows they want to create memories. They want to create happiness. And so what is it that you want to create, that you are creating, and how will the customer feel? And after they had an experience with us and they leave our doors, what are they saying when they're going home? How are we being discussed? What's memorable? What stands out? And if it's nothing, or if it was bad, then we really want to be working on that experience. And if you are an Endera Pro member or an Endera Edge member, we have the Unreasonable Hospitality training course for you. And I'll walk you through how to elevate the experience so people really feel something within your store. We have a whole framework in there based off of the book Unreasonable Hospitality by Will Guidara. Best-selling book, awesome course. So go through that if you are a member. If you're not, go to joinendera.com to learn more. And we also have a promo that's going through the end of the year. You can use the code HOLIDAY on Endera Pro to save $503 on an annual subscription. So great savings by the end of the year. But however you're planning, how we're making people feel, what the experience is, I need you to talk about it. I need you to become obsessed with it. How do people feel? And then also a big takeaway for me was the word plussing, 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 like we're going to add on. So instead of saying, yeah, but, we're saying, yeah, and, right? We want to get rid of the but. And when we change it up for and, it allows for more of the brainstorming, the let's like amplify this, let's expand it, let's get creative. No idea is bad. I'm not shutting anybody down. It just helps everybody on the team to feel like we're plussing this, building more and more and more and more. And last week I was at the Gift and Home Trade Association conference. And we had a speaker, Victoria LeBaum. Victoria was my keynote speaker for Evolve Year One when we had our conference Evolve. She's phenomenal. We brought her to GHTA. She was the only speaker that got a standing ovation. She knocked it out of the park. And one of the things she said was, trust the idea that can lead to the idea. And so I feel like you take that with plussing and you inspire your teams to brainstorm. You might have, like, somebody on your team might have this idea, but maybe they're sort of nervous to talk about it, or they're not really sure. They're like, I don't know if this is fully baked, or I really don't know where I'm going with this, but I have this idea. We want to encourage it all because they might have the idea that leads to the idea, right? Like the thing that really creates this epic experience, our uniqueness, something we've been missing, and it fills in the gap. It connects everything. Like, inspire the team to be really open with their ideas and use plussing, yes, and instead of yes, but. We want to get in that habit of when we hear people say, but, we want to be like, and what if we did this? You know me, I love what if. I'm saying it all the time. What if we did this? What if we did that? What if we did this? Just allowing people to really get creative and expand on ideas. So those were a few things. The final takeaway I'll say is that we had a random last minute. We added in a couple hours happy hour with me and Dustin at the very end. It wasn't scheduled. We were scheduled to end at 4:30, and then people could go back into Magic Kingdom. And I was like, let's keep the party rolling. Meet us at the Beauty and Beast bar for a couple hours, drinks on us. And if you want more brainstorming, if you want to give us feedback, because this is the first time we've ever done this before, and I would love to hear from you, let's keep going. Let's keep connecting. So many people showed up for that. It was awesome. I thought maybe a couple people would because they're going to go back to the park, but a lot of people showed up. And honestly, that was probably my favorite time of our whole time together because it was just casual. We were having a drink. It was like rapid fire. I was brainstorming with a lot of different people. And I also loved getting feedback from everybody on the event. And that's something too, like if you do something new or have an event experience, as soon as you can capture feedback, the better, if you did this like grand opening or a big anniversary sale or something, if you could just like get a little bit of feedback from your customers as they're walking out, or what was most fun for you, or a survey afterwards. The thing is, as a survey afterwards, your chances of getting the feedback is really low. If you could just get them to tell you right now, here in the moment, and then you're learning from that, that's best for both of them, right? They don't have homework to do when they get home. You get the information when it's fresh. That was really helpful for us. And then just that connection of just casual, like it felt like we were just like putting our hair down and grabbing a cocktail and let's connect. And that's the stuff I think that we're all really wanting. So how can you provide that in your store where it's just like, you don't even need to buy anything. Come in and like, we're just looking to connect. Let's chat. You could have some table topics. You could have some things that you just want to like, tell me about yourself, be the most interested person in the room and listen and ask questions. And that's the way you can really connect and create a meaningful experience. Those 2 hours were really meaningful for me. So that's a very, very, very fast, high level overview of some of the top takeaways that I got being at the magical Disney World. And some people are asking, are you going to do it again? And what's going on? And I'm definitely experimenting. I don't think that's the right word. I'm exploring. What does it look like? What can it look like? And how can we make it better? And what would I add or what would I take away? And what if we did it at Disneyland? Because I know that park better. And, I'm exploring ideas, but no dates are set on the calendar yet. But if you are interested in an experience like that with an intimate group, I would love to know. You can email me, crystal@rootedinretail.com, or you could share in the Facebook group for our Rooted listeners. It's just Rooted in Retail and it's a Facebook group. All right, go out there, take action on what you learned. I hope you learned something new or felt re-energized or inspired. And as always, remember, I'm rooting for your success. I'll see you next week. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to the Rooted in Retail podcast. It means the world to me to have you here. If you find value in this show and you listen on an iPhone, if you could leave a review on the Apple Podcast app, that would be amazing. And if you watch YouTube, if you're a YouTube subscriber, we film this. And so if you rather watch the show, you can also do that over on YouTube. Again, thank you for listening, and I'll see you on the next episode.